Hi everyone, how are you? Today's video is going to be a bit unique for RCing around. This is sort of, I guess, a discussion video, which I've never done before. I just want to talk about 2016 so far, from the RC perspective, from me personally. A few things have happened this year that have been that have interested me. I mean, obviously, RC companies are releasing new models all the time. You know, Tamiya are constantly chucking out models. Team Associated are tweaking and bringing their competition models up to scratch. Hong Nor and Hobao have been tweaking and improving new versions of their 1/8 buggies, etc. But a few stories have grasped me as interesting this year. Um, I guess the biggest one was HBI Europe going into administration. That was crazy. Um, but technically, it all sort of came about the end of last year, end of 2015, and into this year. Um, I didn't expect it. I don't think very many people expected it. Um, they were obviously struggling financially, although I did hear that they wanted to move their suppliers to somewhere else, or somebody took their shares and left the company. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it must have been a big collaboration of things. It can't have just been one small detail because it was a huge thing. HBI being one of the biggest manufacturers in RC. There was a lot of rumours as to what was happening. Maybe some people were saying that Traxxas might buy HBI Europe, but eventually it was X-Maxx who stepped in, and X-Maxx are supplying and distributing the models for HBI now. What what I consider strange was after or during this period where they announced they were in administration, at the Nuremberg Toy Fair, they announced dozens of new models in the middle of this crisis. Obviously, I mean the designs would have been over the years and months beforehand, but um, yeah, it was strange. We were promised that none of the part supplies was going to be affected, but I knew firsthand when I was trying to get Maverick Allen parts, because this Basher Pitbull's the same car as the Maverick Allen. I was struggling to find parts. And Allen 10 models were struggling to find parts for the Mavericks that he was supplying too. So there was that issue, and some of the models have not seen the light of day since that was announced. Another big news was the Traxxas X-Maxx, which has been a bit of a mixed bag, to say the least. It's branded as something like a 1/7 or 1/5 scale monster truck, brushless electric. So it really is the biggest electric monster truck on the market that you can get ready to run, and that's the appeal of it. It's this big bruiser of a thing, but there's been so many. I mean, it was announced and it was supposed to be shipped. I think America certainly got it months before the UK did, and there was delays after delay. I think people eventually got them in February after ordering them back in November last year, and the story has not been a pretty one at all with the X-Maxx. You have around the world, you have people with their speed controllers catching fire. ESC fires were quite common, and really, you know, I'm talking, properly melting holes in chassis and burning up through the shell and putting lipos at risk and all these things. And they responded by putting a stupid little fused link thing that would blow the fuse, rather than the SC is a really crap system, really crap fix. If you get, yeah, it really needed a better speed controller, and apparently if you put a better speed controller with this applied motor, it's quite, goes quite well. So that's fine. The truck itself, a big plastic monstrosity. It is what it is. It's not going to be a race chassis. It's not going to be particularly good around the bends, but people like it because it's a big, it's what it's mostly what it's got going for it. Is big Traxxas X-Maxx, but. Another issue was the drivetrain with it. The drivetrain's not particularly strong. It had that, what was supposed to be like a selling point. It could self-right. You press a button on the transmitter and it would throttle and brake, and eventually the thing would flip back on its wheels. It's a complete gimmick. Yeah, it's rubbish. It's absolutely pointless, and it breaks, gears and it's just not good. Not good. But a lot of people, it seems to be a Marmite truck. It's either you love it because the presence and the it's a big thing. It can jump high distances and take a hit and all the rest of it. Or the flip side is it's overpriced. It's relatively weak in terms of the drivetrain, and it's not very reliable. So yeah, mixed bag for Traxxas there. But it was the biggest new model in years. They are another company for really selling you the same thing that they sold decades ago. And then there's this year there's also been Losi. Have done so much stuff. That Losi are always updating their current platforms. The 8 platforms had a few updates and things, but we were treated to the Baja Ray, which is like Axial's Yeti short course truck. What was it called? Yeti. It'll come back to me. So it's the Baja Ray is a solid rear axle, 4-wheel drive short course truck with front independent wishbones, solid rear axle. Looks quite good, quite well received when it was first shown on the internet. Some nice touches with it, full sealed chassis. You plug the battery into the side of the chassis. The speed controller's all hidden in there. Bit of a problem there that is you had to use the EC3 connectors, which are the only connectors that you need to take it apart if you want to change the Deans or whatever. But yeah, bit of an ugly shell, I think, but yeah, it looks okay. Another thing they've been working on is 2 chassis based on the SCTE, the 10MT and the SCBE. Now the SCBE is a sort of desert buggy, not too dissimilar to a big one of these really, I suppose, 1/10 4-wheel drive brushless. And the 10MTs, basically, they call it monster truck, but it's a druggy. It's got big monster truck wheels, but it's a long, low machine with a big wing on it. That was very poorly received. When the SCBE looks good, people look at that. But the 10MT has been very poorly received when the pictures were shown on the internet, because Losi are known for making high performance models, adjustable suspension, tweak the handling of the line, getting it to jump the way you want it, drive the way you want it. Losi's very sort of high end stuff, and then the 10MT looked very plastic, fantastic, and there was non-adjustable camber links and all the rest of it, and bottom loading tray, and it just screamed a little bit of cheap and nasty, but people that have driven it say it's really good. So yeah, again, mixed bag there from Losi. The videos, the sort of teaser videos look great, but then of course Horizon Hobby are always going to make their things look great on the teaser videos. Back to Axial, they've just released this awesome looking Gravedigger licensed replica 4-wheel drive monster truck, full realistic solid axles front and rear. Obviously it won't handle like something like this Proline Pro MT. It'll be falling over in the corners, but like it behaves like a real monster truck, which is quite cool. It looks really smart. For me personally, the RC for this year has been a bit slower. I have only had 2 models. We're in July, the end of July as I record this, and I've only had 2 models all year. I've had my little Pitbull and this phenomenal Proline Pro MT. Phenomenal Proline, phenomenal value Basher Pitbull. Yeah, these things are just great in their own right. My Proline Pro MT is, the Proline Pro MT is the best 1/10 monster truck on the market, 4-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. This one just happens to be rear-wheel drive. It's the highest spec, it's the toughest, best handling monster truck 1/10 you can get. What more can I say about it? It's phenomenal. But weirdly enough, I can recommend this, which isn't phenomenal, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend this, because this, as it sits now, is probably £600 worth with the Castle system in it, Castle brushless system, the digital servo that's in it, and the 2.4 gigahertz radio gear I've got in it. It's just could I really recommend that sort of price to someone? I'm not sure. There are very good monster trucks in the market that don't cost anything like that. Whereas this isn't a particularly good RC car, really. It's okay, it doesn't handle particularly well as standard because the shocks were full of air rather than oil. I put 45 weight, but it's still, look at that, it's still really springy. Tough for its size, but you know, if it came across this thing, it would be just annihilated, obliterated. But comes ready to run with a charger and a battery and transmitter, everything ready to go, £28. How can you not recommend that? You know, this is 100 times the car this is. But let's be reasonable here. It's probably 10 times the car this is. But 10 times the car would be £280, and that's more than double that. So, yeah. I'm very pleased with the decisions I've made this year. This was to replace the useless HPI jump shot, which replaced the useless Losi high roller, which replaced the useless Maverick Strada Evo MT. So eventually I've managed to get myself a good monster truck, but it's been a long time coming, and it's just too much money for me to go out and buy one. Really, you'd be better off buying the ECX Ruckus. You know, it's almost as good, 95% as good. Maybe 90% is good, but much cheaper. This one is by far and away the best of its variety. You know, the Maverick Ion is £85 brushed. The X-Maxx Coyote is £65 brushed. The Hayamoto Baron is £120, £130 brushless. £28 brushless. Brilliant. So my final bit of sort of spiel, I suppose, my final RC thought for 2016 so far was the return of Robot Wars. So yeah, Robot Wars is back, my all-time favourite TV show. Mixed bag from the first episode. I really enjoyed it, but there's a few things I missed from the old show. I missed the music. The music was fantastic on the old show. It wasn't so good this time. There's no music while they're fighting, which loses a bit of the atmosphere a little bit. Also, the cameras are behind the safety glass now, which means something's going to impede the visual quality. I don't like the theme so much for the lighting and things. It's all sort of modern and spaceship and sci-fi like with the blue neon and stuff. Before it was really industrial. You know, it had like yellow and black striped warning, you know, the warning signs, flames everywhere, sparks. It was like being inside a steelworks. It was great. So I missed that. I miss Sergeant Bash, the house robot. You know, we've got the other, well, I say 4 originals. Kilowat wasn't original, but you know, Sergeant Bash. I understand why he's not here because flamethrowers would be even more useless nowadays. But you know, it was a great robot anyway. In its own right, it was iconic. So it's a bit of a shame not to see him, but I understand. The house robots don't look as cool as they used to, but they are more powerful. So you know, take it or leave it. Yeah, we just hope that it turns out to be as good as the old ones. The presenters are good, although I do miss Craig Charles. Yeah, I think it's going to be good. It's going to be the better things on TV right now, so I'm really pleased with that, and it's on Sundays. So yeah, you should be watching Robot Wars if you're an RC fan. You know, Shunt, the original Shunt house robot, not the new one, although it's still called Shunt. It is a brand new machine. Don't get that twisted. The original Shunt is still in existence. He's my all-time favourite RC, so I would buy him in a heartbeat if I had the money. Obviously I don't have the money because I only had 2 RCs so far this year because finances have been so tight, and in fact the one of them I didn't even pay for because I made up store credit. So this is the only one I paid for, really. It's £28. So yeah, that's how struggling for money I've been this year. So really that's the end of my RC sort of discussion. On to a very sad note. My entire family was rocked 2 days ago by the news of the sudden and unexpected death of my cousin Daniel, who's a fantastic guy, same age as me, just 29 years old, was taken from us. I mean, I wouldn't usually share this sort of thing online, but I thought, you know, for what it's worth, I would love to just give Daniel a tribute because, yeah, we all miss him a lot. So, can I just ask everybody? I know not very many people have subscribed to this channel so far, so because it's quite a small channel, but it is worldwide. So can I ask, wherever you are, people, just would you? I'd like to propose a toast if you would like to raise a glass to my cousin Daniel. He's taken from us far too early. Cheers, Daniel. Rest in peace, my friend. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.